Okay, so we've been doing a lot of stuff with exponents and polynomials and negative exponents, and today we're going to be reviewing this Polynomial Review Stencil. I decided to do them in a slightly different order because I want to make sure that we cover, I think, the easier ones first. Look for the patterns. And I've chosen to do 1, 3, 5, and 7, which might seem a little odd to start off with, but just so that we can get warmed up. First of all, this is a combination of a couple of exponent rules, but mostly it's a power of a power which you multiply the exponent in, a little bit like the distributive property. So it's going to be equal to a to the 4, you multiply those exponents, so that's 2 times 2, and b to the 6. You're going to multiply those exponents together. And you just say, okay, is there anything more that I can do with this? You can't combine the exponents because the bases don't match. That question is done. Maybe a little bit too easy, but just to get you warmed up. Now the next question has a little bit more involved, but it's got a little bit of the same kind of stuff going on. First of all, I have a monomial times a binomial. And you use the distributive property, but this time it's the distributive property of multiplication. So that's going to be multiplying by each of the terms in the bracket. Whereas over here, this is the sort of distributive property for exponents. So you're going to be multiplying the exponent into the bracket, and you can pretend that's a 1 on the y. So multiplying this in, I have to look at the coefficients. So 3 times 1 is equal to 3. X to the 6, x to the 2 times x to the 6 is x to the 8, and y times y is y squared. Multiplying the 3x squared y times the 2y is going to give me 6x squared y squared. Minus. Now, as I said before, I'm multiplying the exponent in here, so multiply the exponents together. So that's going to be x to the 8, y to the 2. Coincidentally, but not so coincidentally, these two have the same exponent groupings of the bases, okay, of x and y, and so they're like terms. 3x to the 8y squared, 1x to the 8y squared, subtracted, equals 2x to the 8y squared. So those like terms are out of the way. And the other one, 6x squared, y squared. These are not like terms. You have to stop at this point. Don't be distracted by the fact these y squareds match because the x's, okay, have different exponents on them. The next column, number 5. Again, we're looking for patterns. How are things the same? How are things a little bit different? So we got the 2a to the 7, b to the 12. And that's just by itself one term. So all I can do is recopy that. But on the other part, I've got a couple of monomials that are multiplied. Now 4ab squared times a cubed b to the 5. You'd love to multiply them together first, but this exponent, just like the rules of bedmass, you have to take care of the exponents first. So I've got to multiply that exponent of 2 into the 2 powers. So 4ab squared stays the same, and this is going to wind up as, I'll put a dot for the multiplication, a to the 6, b to the 10. Hopefully I'm going to have enough room here. I got 2a to the 7, b to the 12, that won't change. 2a to the 7, b to the 12, and then here I'm multiplying these two monomials together, so that's a 1. 4 times 1 is 4. A to the 7, right, you add those two exponents together, and b to the 2 and 10 makes 12. These guys now are like terms. A to the 7, b to the 12, a to the 7, b to the 12. So you can add them together. I think they'll just fit on my screen here. It's going to be 6a to the 7, b to the 12. Okay, and that's your final answer for that question. It's always nice to put a box around your answer to make things nice and clean, organized, give you that feeling of completion. Now number 7 is a little combination of a couple of things. I've got a multiplication of a monomial times a binomial squared. Remember, this is a binomial. You're not going to be allowed to multiply the exponent into the bracket because there's a minus sign. Can't do that. And then you're dividing by an x at the end. So this is x times mess divided by x. You're allowed to, and you should, cross off those x's because they're both multiplied. If you don't feel like doing that in the first step, you can do it later, but I'm going to get that out of the way now to simplify first, get rid of the x's, x minus 8 squared. This is FOIL. This is x minus 8 times x minus 8. That's the only way you can square a binomial. You have to FOIL it out. And as I said, these guys cancel. That's a 1 and a 1. No more fraction. Equals x squared minus 8x. That's the first one multiplied by both. The second one multiplied by both, negative 8x. And don't forget, it's minus 8 times negative 8, and that's going to be positive 64. Equals x squared minus 16x plus 64. Okay, I'm going to continue on in a second. Clear off the board first.